Welcome to the Inside Indiana Overtime video. I'm Ben Ladner, joined by Andrew Hussey of the IDS, coming off Indiana's 45-17 loss to the Wisconsin Badgers this afternoon. And Andrew, this is another case of kind of what we've seen all season, the last few seasons really for Indiana, where they're kind of hanging with one of the nation's best teams, and then third, fourth quarter, things start to slip away, and it results in a lopsided score like the one we saw today.
Yeah, it kind of felt inevitable because IU got out to the early lead against Wisconsin, but Wisconsin's rushing offense was just way too much for IU. They kind of leaned in on IU and kind of wore down IU's defense, and it really wasn't that IU's defense was playing poorly. They just had to be out there on the field the entire game, and we looked at the stats, and it looked like nearly 40%, two-thirds of the game, IU's defense on the field, and you're never going to win in a game like that.
Yeah, Tom Allen mentioned in the post-game presser that he felt, especially due to Wisconsin's size and just the strength and physicality they have, especially up front, that his team, his defense in particular, did wear down a little bit. Richard Lago starting in place of the injured Peyton Ramsey. He looked good in the first half, then kind of down the stretch when Indiana had to start sort of pushing a little bit more. A couple of interceptions that Wisconsin turned into 14 points, and that was kind of the closing sentence of this story.
Yeah, those interceptions, one was tipped, so that wasn't really his fault, but the other one, they were just kind of having to force it because IU was down so much, and IU didn't have a rushing attack in this game. We saw Morgan Ellison just had like 17 yards at one point in the fourth quarter, and he was their leading rusher, so it's like Lego had to do everything for this offense, and if you put him in that kind of position, he's not going to be able to be too successful. We saw a lot of good passes from him there in the first half, but when he was asked to do too much in the second half, he really kind of struggled.
Yeah, and now going forward, I mean, it seems like Indiana's talked about breakthrough all year long, and they were close against Ohio State, they were close against Penn State, they were close against Michigan, they were close against Michigan State, they were close for a little while here today against Wisconsin. Now with Rutgers, Illinois, and Purdue remaining on the schedule, it feels like that opportunity for breakthrough, so to speak, has kind of come and gone, because you wouldn't really consider any wins against any of those three programs a marquee win or a program-defining win. And any loss to those teams, I think, would probably be considered a disappointment. So going forward, what does Indiana have to do? Because they need to win out to be bowl eligible. What do they need to do to make that happen?
Yeah, these last three games, you just kind of have to survive. There's going to be no breakthrough because getting into a bowl is almost to be expected at this point with this level of talent on IU. So really, moving down the stretch, IU just has to find a way to finish these games and hopefully maybe blow out some of these teams like Illinois and Rutgers, so they're not in games late and they kind of blow it like they did at Maryland. So I think IU's defense just has to be the backbone of this team going forward because these aren't good offenses moving forward, and they should keep them within, maybe score 2 touchdowns at least.
Yeah, and you mentioned the talent on the team. A lot of that talent has been on the sideline, and it's difficult, when you think about some of these close losses that Indiana's had, it's difficult to think about whether or not the outcome would have been different had some of those players been on the field. A'Shawn Riggins, Marcelino Ball, Donovan Hale have all been injured. Nick Westbrook went down on the first play of the season, and that's not to say that any of the outcomes of these games would necessarily be different, but a touchdown difference against Michigan, a close game against Michigan State, it is at least a little tempting to think about maybe the outcome is a little different if you have all of your talent on the field.
Yeah, and Tom Allen has talked about how this team isn't very deep all season long and then just keep getting tested with injury after injury. So when you take a kind of top line, really talented team and then keep getting them injured, that's never going to be a recipe for success.
Yeah, and adding to the injuries today, Peyton Ramsey, Morgan Ellison was out last week. It really is just a banged up team. So we'll see how they fare going forward. Again, Indiana with Illinois, Rutgers, and Purdue remaining on the schedule. They need to win all 3 of those games to become bowl eligible and break even on the season after what was touted as potentially a really exciting season, potentially a 7 or 8 win team. Now looks to be at best a 6-win team and potentially headed to a bowl. Maybe not. We'll have to remain wait and see on that. So Indiana losing 45-17 today to Wisconsin, overpowered in the second half, and once again just another frustrating loss for a program that has come so close so many times. For Andrew Hussey, thanks for joining me of the IDS. You can check him out at the IDS website. Grab a paper if you're in Bloomington. On Twitter, what's your Twitter name?
The Huss Network.
The Huss Network. Coffee Huss, water drinking Huss, water bottle Huss, whatever that is. All the Hussey memes, all the Hussey hashtag content you can find there at the Huss Network. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time on Inside Indiana.